Hey people, what's happening? Into the Ether here. So today we're going to go through my track U-Turn that was released Thursday just gone on Immersed as part of my U-Turn EP. I will put the link in the description for that, and also I've started adding small bits to Patreon and kind of trying to get involved with that now. I'll also put the link to that in the bottom. But we'll start off with this track. Basically, the reason it's called U-Turn is originally it was a completely different track, which I basically, long story short, I really struggled. I loved the melody and the bass line, but I kept struggling to kind of build anything with it. So I kind of threw them into like a MIDI folder, kept the drums and like the atmosphere kind of things, and then I built everything around that. So everything was built basically around this. The only thing that wasn't there originally was this art, but I kind of just added that in as something to kind of build new chords and whatnot around, and just kept it in. And then from there I kind of built out the chords, and obviously the bass line and the lead. I'll quickly show you the track as a whole. So yeah, originally, like I said, would have started with this, would have started with that, and I believe I knew from the start I wanted to use the same bass kind of patch that I used in my remix I did on Immersed for Jope, Say Rain. It was the Into the Ether Sunset remix. So then I kind of built this around it, and once I had that down, everything else kind of flowing together. When I had this with these drums that were already in, I knew I had something that would work. So what I'll do is now I'll just go from the top down and show you what's on everything. Let's start with the drums. On the actual drum bus, it's got a filter. It'll probably just be for, I don't even know if I used it, to be honest. Yeah, just for here. I've used it on the overall thing, not on the actual kick drum. I don't know why I've put that on there, to be honest. I must have changed it. We've got that. Reverb, again, which will be automated, just for the breakdown. Well, for the build up, actually. And then we've got this glue compressor, kick drum, minor EQ, that's it, claps, again just some EQ, and a bit of sidechain. Sometimes I will sidechain my claps, sometimes I won't, depends on the track. This reverse clap, that is it, that's literally every now and then. Bit of that and a bit of reverb. These closed hats that for some reason have bounced. I don't know why. Nothing crazy with them going on. The open hat. Room reverb. A little bit of shaper box. EQ. Shakers, which if you've watched my videos before, you'll know I always use shimmer shake strike. I use that 9 times out of 10. These rides that just add a bit of energy. Or a shaker actually. I've put a shaper box on that and a bit of that. Again, it's EQ, taking loads of, kind of just keeping the highs Bit of sidechain, a bit of soothe, not much. And that just adds a bit of energy if we play everything together. Quite subtle, but it kind of gives an extra bit of energy. I have this loop, nothing on it. There's nothing at all. These are very subtle as well. If I play the drums, the whole. Add a tiny bit. Again, that's all I've got done with that. These are a loop, one pan left, one pan right. I'm not sure if they're from different packs. One's from a PMR pack and one's from this PDHE. I don't even know what that is. And I've just chopped out a couple of hits. That is it. Then these drum fills are, these are from a Bound to Divide percussion loop. Very, very subtle, these are. And this one. And then it's this one at the end where you're going to hear it more. Again, if I put the whole drum. And all we've got on them, bit of reverb. It looks like I tried to play the Portal originally. Listen to that in a minute. We've got a Pro Q. So originally it looks like I tried to do a little bit of something, but didn't keep it. Reverb. And on the Oliver fills, just some reverb. EQ. Only taking the very lows out of that. That's literally, it looks like I just duplicated the channel and added that in. Right, so that's the drums. The bass. Kind of touched on this already. It's my bass that I made for my Joke remix. Very simple. This, which I wanted something to differentiate from the first drop. I first introduced it in the breakdown here, or the bridge kind of thing, and then I wanted it adds a little bit to this drop, just something a bit different. That's a patch I made. Very basic again. So most of the sounds that I create myself will be very, very simple. On the main bass, chord chain, saturation knob, Pro Q, a filter, and this one, saturation knob again, bit of EQ, sidechain, and obviously filter. Then we've got the sub, which I've just used. Same patch, I'll just turn that off. Let's use a triangle. Saturation knob. Shaper box. I don't know why. Sometimes I've used a shaper box, sometimes I'm using track spacer. I do tend to use track spacer for everything now. That's a sub. I'm guessing that there is probably where the kick fundamentals in. Right, lead sounds. And again, as you can see, very simple patch I've made, like the most basic patch. Got some compression on it. Some chorus, an OTT, echo. I really like the Ableton echo. EQ, quite heavily. Filter Freak, obviously adding a little bit of movement. Soothe, and then more compression. So obviously Filter Freak's giving it a bit of movement, but then I've got this kind of auto filter, the echo's kind of rising and falling. Auto filters obviously in the kind of end of the first drop in the build up and whatnot. This is kind of going up and down all over. Tends to be up towards transitions. That's like where it changes. That's the only time. I don't know why I've done it here actually. Usually it's just at the end of like the phrase a lot, but for here I've done it kind of earlier, for whatever reason. Who knows? Probably just wanted to add a bit more movement. Yeah, that's that. We've got this kind of counter lead. It's from a Fur Cloud pack, I think that is. EQ, compression, a bit of auto pan. And this is from, that there is from what, same kind of patch in the breakdown. I've added crystallizer and shimmer to it. And then kind of bounced it to audio and used it as like a little kind of reverse. It's like a bit of ear candy. These pads, I'll go over kind of the groups, see what we've got on them in a minute. This pad is originally like a harmony thing in the breakdown, but then in the drops it's just kind of playing the single. That's an Omnisphere. All of these pads would be Omnisphere. I don't really want to open them because sometimes it crashes, as you can see. They'll all be Omnisphere. Bit of tremolo, auto pan, bit of EQ. This pad, compression, OTT, reverb, EQ, pad 2, same, piano, you see I've slightly pulled the MIDI off. And on that we have got, we're using Kontakt the Giant. I always use a Giant in Kontakt for my pianos. Obviously reverb, OTT, I always put on pianos. And obviously some EQ. And this, a little Omnisphere piano. Reverb, OTT again, a little bit of EQ in, and then obviously these atmospheres that we've been through already. You've got this, that as originally was, not really changed it much, I pitched it down. This, nothing on that at all. Seems weird. Yeah, but that got nothing on it. Got this single tone, which will be an Omnisphere. Reverb, Pro Q, utility, just to for the intros and the outros, basically, so it's not too overpowering. Auto pan, having it move left and right a little bit. And then we've got this, which is very subtle. Again, it's an Omnisphere. Probably one of the textures, soundscape things. Oh, no, hey, which one was I looking at then? No, that's just. I don't know why I was still on that one, weren't I? Yeah, so this is very subtle. It's a loop from a pack. I don't know what the pack's called. I've got it in here somewhere. It's from Splice, I know that. Basically, I think there's a pack called something like Ambience and Atmospheres or something. Yeah, that was really subtle. And I've just got reverb on it, obviously some EQ. This, the same pack. which was originally had some lows in it, some rumbles, because they've took that out. Bit of shimmer. And then Vintage Verb, just as a default, I'll just push the DK up a bit, turn the mix down. And this standard birds, which I kind of always put in tracks. Bit of dynamic EQ and these bits that jump out a bit. Bit of compression. Some reverb. And then the effects. Standard kind of stuff, white noise. Little risers. Again, just EQ them out. Silence for the white noise. Nothing crazy with any of them. And then if we go through the kind of groups for the bass, nothing on that. Lead sounds, just compression and the shaper box. Had track spacer, compression, EQ. Bit of dynamic EQ at 300. I mean, they look like that. This looks like it's the exact same. Oh no, it's a bit higher. Compression, side chain. The effects, I'll just put an EQ on the overall channel. In terms of the arrangement, standard kind of arrangement into a breakdown. See what we've got in terms of. There we've got a kind of a reverb for transitions, as well as filter, low passing, high passing, sorry. Just taking the lows out, coming up to the drops and whatnot. You hear it better in this one. And I've also got like this channel. Transitions thing. We should have a bunch of random stuff. I used to use the bass clef one, but now I think I'll just change some of his things out for my own plugins. Then obviously take the drums out here. Probably filter them down, yeah. And that's where I introduce this. Kind of tease up. Only bit it plays before the second drop. Then with this kind of counter melody from the second drop. Just tease it before it comes back in, so you've kind of heard it before. Obviously the melody changes. I've kind of put a more simplified version of the melody, which I'll introduce here, and then comes in the breakdown. Obviously pushing the echo up, as well as slowly filtering it in. I think it brings everything together nicely for the switch for the build up. Obviously at the drop I've kind of just got these 3 notes here, like a little, I don't know what you call it, like a little trill. But that's the only place I have it in the whole track. It's any time you hear it. Really subtle. I'll just quickly go over the snare roll before I finish up. Just a bunch of snares layered basically. Obviously it's pitched up within the That's all there is. Sometimes I will put a bunch of reverb on these, but because I have the kind of reverb coming up on the overall kind of track, I don't always bother. Yeah, and that's the track. My track called U-Turn, which is part of my U-Turn EP. The B-side on that is a track called A Flight to a Dream. I'll do a track breakdown of that, and we'll put that out either later this week or next week. I believe, obviously I've recorded this already, but I think I'll put this out on Monday. What date will that be? Monday the 11th. So maybe I'll put the second one out, say Friday. Should be the 15th. Hope you all enjoyed that kind of little look into my process. And thanks for tuning in. Catch you all soon. Peace.